For those with good taste.
Welcome back, Tasties and Tastettes, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again, as always, with my producer extraordinaire, Dante. How the fudge are you?
Hey, I like the censorship. I'm doing well.
We're going to do better this week.
Yeah?
Put a timer on me, not just the one I can see.
We'll just have like a... You got the chest timer, didn't you?
I do, actually.
Smack
dude,
the
you have to
chest
hit it
timer
every
on
time,
you.
I swear. We'll see if we can set a record, see how long I'll go. That's how we'll train me, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, do people want to see us get a shock collar?
Dude. All right. You know what? I'm going to put myself out there right now. I've always been really curious what it would feel like to wear a shock collar around my neck and have someone hit the button.
We could, we could do a thing with me swearing.
Bro, they're cheap enough online too. Like,
I don't know if I want to do it, if I'm being completely honest. If you want to do it, though, we can do it.
How does that look? Like us two, and I give you the remote and I'm wearing the collar? Like, at that point, is this for YouTube or is this for our other site?
I know there's a far better there's a far better guy. There's a far better guy that could be the one holding the button tasing you.
Is there?
Yeah, they'll be on maybe some other time.
Okay.
They just feel like it'd be a very good picture for the podcast, probably.
Okay.
It'd go viral
Yeah.
on Reddit, probably on the right R's, you know.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But hey,
now.
if you guys would want to see something like that, you know what you got to do? Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the pod, please.
Yes, sir.
Tell a friend, ask a friend. We'd appreciate it. Let's kick this thing off, Dante. I want to come in hot this week. I want us both to get fired up. Can you get fired up with me?
Yeah.
Can we get
right.
to an aggressive level? Can I have you do some prep work real quick while I start my rant?
Do I have to do push-ups?
That'd be hilarious. No, jumping jacks right here in the background. No, can you go to YouTube on your phone? Okay. You can turn the volume off for this. I don't really need volume, so to speak. I just need you to look up the trailer if you haven't seen it yet for the most recent or the soon to come out Jason Statham movie.
Okay.
And I'm angry, Dante. I'm angry. And I shouldn't be angry. Like I'm not that angry, but I'm angry. And I'm maybe we can get up there with this one. We've seen this movie before, dude. We've seen this movie before. Have you found it yet?
I feel like I'm finding a bunch of fake stuff. I probably shouldn't search this on YouTube.
Sorry, I thought it would be easier than
that.
I thought if you just looked up Jason Statham because it's like newest thing.
I don't think there's a Beekeeper 2 already, is there?
No, but this is my point. Like, I'm worried about Jason Statham, people. I'm fearing that we're teetering into a world that we don't need to go to. Like it's too watered down at this point. I think that's my issue. There was something special when...
Is it a working man?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, just even the title. Nobody cares about this. It kind of goes back to the thing with the Beekeeper. And the Beekeeper surprised us, right? And the reason we need to be angry in particular, Dante, and the reason me and you need to get fired up is because like we put this movie on a pedestal last year. We saw that movie in January, I think. January or February, right?
I think it held top 5.
And like we, throughout the year, we're like, this movie shouldn't be that good. And we shouldn't keep it this high. And you especially, you kept it higher than I did by the end of the year. I know I moved mine down a little bit, but we were both very high on the movie. But I think it's because it surprised us, right?
Yeah.
He's not surprising us anymore. And now it just feels like it's the same thing.
Gotta give the people what they want.
I don't know that I want this Jason Statham 1 to 2 times a year because then it hurts when I get good Jason Statham. My point was this. When Fast 6 came around, right? Or the end of Fast 5, whatever. Oh, no, the end of Fast 6. When it turns out that he's the one who, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, is off's Han, right? When we flash back to Tokyo Drift and we find out that he's on the other side of the car, right?
Too soon.
It's tough. I know. It was like, holy shit, Jason Statham's in the fucking Fast and Furious. It felt like a superstar had arrived into a franchise that was already full of superstars.
Yeah, fair.
You do shit like this too much. And I watched my favorite fucking action heroes of the 90s and 2000s do this. They all did it, dude. Every single one of my heroes, dude, from fucking Willis to, he didn't do it so much, to Van Damme, to Seagal, to Jackie Chan did this shit. Like they all just start doing anything that comes their way, and especially in a time
Did
where
Jackie Chan really?
he definitely.
I guess, yeah.
Go watch The Tuxedo or some shit, dude. Like there was definitely some bad Jackie Chan, thrown in there, dude. I've just seen too many action heroes do this because it becomes too easy to just rely on being the action guy, right? Like I'm pretty sure Chuck Norris probably did this during his career too. You know, like it just, you can rely on the same tropes. In this movie, for one, it's the Rambo movies. It's the more recent Rambo movies. Time out. This is a Bailey episode, if anybody was wondering.
Yeah.
It's a Bailey episode. I don't know. Thoughts, Dante? Are you fired up? Did you see any of the trailer?
I just watched probably like 50% of it. It feels very much like the same, like mindless. I'm just kicking some ass. Who knows what the hell it's about this time, but like I feel you on that. Like it's gonna be frustrating if I get too many of these. Like, will I watch this and enjoy it? Probably. But if they drop a third movie like this, like,
do you have a desire to see this in the theater?
I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to see it. Yeah, but like when it hits streaming, I'll probably throw it on.
But the problem is, like, this feels like a perfectly acceptable streaming movie.
Yeah,
and that's not a good. That's in this way, it's not a compliment. Like you're bordering on this world where you're a streaming property to me. You know,
this is a B movie straight to DVD, basically. Like,
yeah. And if you haven't seen this movie, but if somebody's seen the most recent Rambo, I feel like this trailer teetered very close on what that last Rambo movie was. And I think the last Rambo movie appears to have done it in a grittier way. Because even the premise of this trailer, right? And I can't spoil something that's not out yet. I'm just going on what they've showed me. In the trailer, they set up the premise that the girl, his niece, I think, or something, gets kidnapped. And he's trying to find her.
Okay.
But they already show me a minute into the trailer
that he finds her,
that he's with the niece, like he's literally with her.
Okay.
And so you've already just given away, and obviously I know that he was going to, but this is maybe a bigger issue with trailers.
They give you too much.
Why show that? You know, like you could have worked around that shot. You didn't have to include the end to your plot, like the plot you presented and then the outcome. Yeah. And sure, maybe you're going to spice it up and like give some like a little swerve to it to give it something new. But yeah, it's a bigger issue, and Jason Statham's just the latest in a line of people in my mind to do it. And why not just do the Beekeeper too, Dante?
Why not? At that point, you're doing the same exact thing, but
yeah, and the Beekeeper character
now you have exactly
already built in that like they established it's the type of character you could very easily write another movie for.
Franchise it. Don't go and try and tell me this is a whole different movie.
Yeah, it's silly. I'm not into it. I'm not into it. And I guess this kind of gives us a minute to talk about like something else with this because it's along the same lines. I wanted to talk a little bit about Electric State.
Okay.
A movie neither one of us have seen yet.
But according to Netflix, #1 movie in America.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, but also according to everybody with a brain, is maybe one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh, really?
And is also one of the most expensive movies ever made.
Really?
Yeah. Google, man. You didn't bring an iPad this week.
No.
That's kind of a bummer. Could have probably used that.
Coming back to a Dante near you.
Yeah. Yeah, the budget was insanely high, and especially for a streaming movie, makes no sense. And basically, all intents and purposes, it's like a soulless movie. I didn't love some of the, like I saw in the promotional, and maybe, I don't know if I said this on
It's funny that you say soulless, because as I'm looking up the budget, I just see Netflix's $320 million sci-fi blockbuster is soulless, dumb, and a hit.
I mean, if it's the #1 movie on Netflix.
I guess it would be a hit if it's the #1 movie, but
yeah, it's not a hit in terms of critic or response, you know? I don't know if I said this on here because I feel like we talked about Millie Bobby Brown last week, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
I didn't like in the promotion of this movie that they did something where they showed her a cassette player and she had to act like dumbfounded as to what it was. When I'm pretty sure like her character in Stranger Things or like one of the characters in Stranger Things constantly had a cassette player. And that really annoyed me.
Did that?
I feel like they would have, right? Like one of them had a cassette 80s, player in that at some point. I'm not crazy on that front. And it just felt very like fake. That bothered me. I saw a TikTok that talked about how like she seems like she could be miserable and like maybe signed to one of those deals like where Netflix just has her for like X amount of movies and she's just attached to shit. But like her and Chris Pratt being attached to this, and she's screwed because Millie Bobby Brown has just been attached to like, and maybe she's not, maybe this is just her talent caliber. And this is something we did talk about last week, Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a similar thing to Dakota Fanning that we wanted them to be great because they were on our screens when they were so young in such a prominent way.
And then now that they're growing up, it's like, oh, maybe it's not as much of an impression as we thought.
Millie Bobby Brown's just done a lot of streaming movies.
Oh,
and camera. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just been on a long run. Like, did she just do like The Damsel maybe?
Oh, was that the dragon movie?
Or was that Joey King?
No, that was
her,
Millie Bobby
right?
Brown, yeah.
Like she did that. I mean, I think people like Enola Holmes, which she did, but I just kind of associate her, and I think she's going to start getting associated with a lead character, but at like a
straight to streaming kind of.
Like which then I think at a point in the long run, we're still a little fresh into like we're seeing stars building themselves through streaming, and there's two types of people, right? There's people building their way through streaming potentially,
and people destroying themselves through streaming,
and then there's people getting bags to come to streaming that just like the money's too good to pass up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, as we watch the years go on now that we're further into streaming, and especially the fact that these companies own production companies and are making their own content. Can you take that bottle away? That's a bottle that she's doing that to. No, like
she's finding the most ways to be obnoxious.
She's angry,
now.
Dude. She's so angry.
Oh my god. She's like, y'all want to interrupt my bedtime? Bet.
You see what happens when we start late, dude.
Yeah, no,
this is the 2 hour difference right here because she would have been sleeping.
I know. I know. Yeah.
All right.
No, you didn't care. I should have texted her.
Yeah, it's a good point. Hey, maybe you good.
Hey, you mind? Like, I'm gonna be a little late today.
Imagine if, like, Mickey 17. This is gonna be in the podcast now, maybe. On like Mickey 17, they have the translation thing.
Yeah,
that'd be like that's gonna be the future technology, right? As far as how movies like depict the future in a lot of senses, like they're like they like occasionally there's a million different shots that people take. It's like that whole if you take 100 shots,
you make 0% of the shots you don't take.
Thank you, whatever the saying is. But like, there's been a million shots as to what the future can be in movies, but occasionally, like, they get shit right. Being able to translate animal to human conversation would be like
that'd be fire.
A massive one, right?
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown. I think the bigger question that she enlists, and even we can get back to the movie itself, although neither one of us saw it. So I think this is more where I wanted it to go anyways.
Yeah.
These people who were born into the streaming era of movies, like got their start in the streaming era of TV and movies and became associated with those platforms.
Yeah.
Are they going to have profitability in a movie theater setting where you have to get somebody out of their home to pay their hard-earned money to buy a movie? If they've been branded to themselves in a way as a free property?
I still think yes, right? Like, and you use Millie Bobby Brown as an example, right? Like, you're the type of person that you'll go to watch movies based on specific actors or actresses that you like to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I think she has enough of a fan base that people will go out of their homes to the movie theaters for her. But if she keeps doing these kind of properties that have like a declining level of interest, then maybe that hurts her in the long run. But as of right now, if she were to drop a movie theater movie, I think she'd do fine.
Well, the only reason I think she'll do fine right now is because she still has Stranger Things. Like, there's still another season of Stranger Things that's in the bag for her. And even if she wants to leave it, that thing's going to do blockbuster numbers, and it's probably going to be incredible. So she's going to get another bump up of like her
It's like a new lease on life.
yeah,
kind of thing,
her proximity to her now, her current peak. I'm not saying that this isn't her. She's young. She's 20 or whatever, you know, like she's got a million years left in her career. Her peak could be significantly higher than this, you know, hyperbole. But once Stranger Things, once that well dries up, once she's 2 or 3 years away from Stranger Things, maybe she's 5 years away from Stranger Things, and she's put out another, what's this movie called? Electric State. Like she's put out expensive as fuck movies that people were like, that was bad, you know, you don't get the forgiveness because Stranger Things is going to come, and she shouldn't be taking the brunt of this. There's a million people that are going to get their starts in streaming and be those people. Madeline Klein, I think, is probably a good example of this, of like, is she going to make the branch over to actual paid for movie and franchising, or does those things bomb and she ends up back? It used to be the conversation was you were a TV actor and could you graduate from TV to film, or were you going to always be a TV person? And I think the conversation now is more
streaming to box office, basically.
Yeah, like is it one you passively pay for because you just have it, right? Like you still pay for it. Like I still have to shell out money, but I'm not paying for Millie Bobby Brown with Netflix. I'm paying for Netflix. Yeah. You know, versus, I am the type of person who, if I like somebody, I'm going to pay the money to go see them. I'm also the person who will not know a single person in a movie and pay for it. So I'm still not the person they're worried about. They're worried about the more casual viewer who is associated with her with something free forever in their head. That was always just kind of like you know, it was like I threw it on a Friday night because like me and the significant other had nothing else to watch, but we laughed at it the whole time, you know, whatever. Or we're apathetic. The worst thing they could be is we were apathetic towards it.
That's tough. Yeah. I still have no idea what this movie Electric State is, by the way. I just know again that I scrolled past it on Netflix, saw 2 hours and 10 minutes, and was like, yeah, no.
The vibe. I don't know what it's about.
I don't even think I read the plot.
Tell me in the comments.
I looked at the runtime.
Yeah, tell me in the comments if I'm correct off of a couple still images, essentially. And some interviews that I watched I didn't listen to.
Okay. You're going to try and recap. I'm going to try and find an actual plot.
This is the epitome of this show, actually. Like this podcast is this moment, because this is how I handle news on this podcast and everything. It's just like an observation. This feels like Ready Player One, essentially. Like it has like Ready Player One vibes, like retro game, like it just looks like a nicely painted picture, like a marketing scheme with no actual plot to it. Okay. Is what my description. So I don't think we don't need the IMDb description of the movie. We need like the first couple letterbox reviews.
Ooh, okay. Damn. You didn't have me prepped for that one, you know?
Yeah, sorry. Bailey is distracting me anyways. So
can't even fill for me right now. Dude, take it up.
Bailey.
Oh, I'll tell you, Letterboxd doesn't love it because it's an average of 2.2 stars.
Yeah, okay, so that's my point. Hit us with the first couple letterbox reviews. See if any of them are close to my review.
Bro.
And I swear to God, I just want to get this ahead because I know where this is going. I did not read a single letterbox review. I promise to God, I did not do any research to this. I never do research to this stuff.
That's fair.
History. Watch any other episodes. You will know damn well that I did not do research.
Yeah, Lenny's very much a picture book guy. He'll look at the pictures, maybe read the headline, and that's about all you get. Very first review, 1 star. It's kind of like if Ready Player One and E.T. had a baby with Chappie, but had that baby. Wait, what? But that baby was Monstro Eliza Sue? I don't know who that is.
We wouldn't know. That's, all right, they've dug out a hole.
Yeah.
They started with Ready Player One.
They started strong. So, yeah. I saw Ready Player One and I was like, ah.
Like, I just think that, like, and you don't have to be a fucking genius. It's just like, think about the Netflix I swore. Darn it.
Are we? Yeah,
like 21 minutes in, and I don't know how many other times I've done it. That one stuck out.
We're going to get you a swear jar.
Yeah. New Girl, like the douchebag jar. Dude, like, we just do that. That'd be a fun bit, dude. One of us can win it every once in a while.
Oh, how? We'll figure that out.
That's actually a fun little twist. Yeah, we'll implement that. Yeah. We'll hollow out one of Dee's plants and start putting change in it.
Just think. Yeah. Oh, damn. That thing's solid.
Yeah, it's sharp, dude. Be careful.
Yeah.
I don't know. we've wrung out the electric state towel at this point. That thing's dry.
Yeah.
You people get the point. Let us know down below. Is it worth watching? Is it bad? I am more just interested in the grander scheme of this. Is there a fear for, like, think of in your head, like the person, like there is people associated in your head with streaming. And is there a world where they are going to get branded as a streaming performer? You know, basically the porn star of the real movie industry.
Huh?
Speaking of X-rated, Dante.
Okay.
You want to talk about the sequel to the 2021, I'm guessing on that year, hit Mortal Kombat?
Okay.
This is really just a me thing. I think
you also said hit, like, I mean,
yeah, it's relative.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's up to interpretation, I suppose.
Sure, yeah.
It hit some. There was a lot of hits
in this household. Yeah, I get.
There was a lot of hits in it.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. Okay.
Did you see it?
No.
Can we watch it?
We'll add it to the list.
Like love seat. Cuddled.
If it's one of the ones that swings, yeah, sure, I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you should watch it. It's great.
Okay.
I think you would like it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty good gauge on your interest in movies. I think you would like it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot. It's totally a popcorn movie. I understand it's not it's not a great film by any means. If you're a hardcore Mortal Kombat person, it might not be even your cup of tea at all. I think it should be in a way, because instead of trying to just be like, we're going to make just a straightforward movie, they were like, hey, let's do a little bit of world building here. And instead of just jumping into the tournament, what if we swing for the fences and try to do good enough building the stuff before the tournament? So now the sequel, where we're actually going to get Mortal Kombat, feels more important because we know the characters a little bit, and like know some of the backstory to go into it. So you're more bought into some of the storylines, I think, and care who wins and loses within that tournament maybe a little bit more, right? Similar to Twisted Metal, like we spent a season without actually doing any racing in Twisted Metal, but we did a lot of stuff in cars, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there's things to be excited about that they did as far as world building that we're starting to get stills now for Mortal Kombat 2, and mostly positive. There is one piece of controversy that we can talk about, but this is advancing, I think, to my most look forward to movie.
Oh,
like I was thinking of what else there is for me.
I guess there's not much to look forward to this
year.
So,
well, and we'll get into in the taste test, like, spoiler alert. We didn't announce a movie last week, so I guess we'll just say this now. We're going to just be talking Novocaine for the spoiler. For the taste test this week.
We will spoil
because we didn't announce a movie for, what we were going to be doing. So
yeah,
we'll get back to that stuff. But kind of similar deal like that. We'll get into more in the back end of this. But yeah, there's not a ton to look forward to this year, and that one is quickly climbing the ranks. And we haven't gotten a trailer or anything, but I'm hopeful. Like, and I like being hopeful for movies. It sucks because I try not to be, because I don't want to be let down. I like kind of just being okay with whatever I watch, and if I build up expectations, see two different reactions. Go watch like Halloween Ends, my reaction to that movie. And then there's always just Expendables. Like, don't let me get expectations for movies, because I will come in here.
Do we ever cut that into like its own thing?
No, yeah, you'll just see smoke coming out of my head. Yeah.
Because again, I think that's part of just like a regular pod, but I think that's also like just literally 17 minutes of you ranting about Expendables.
I didn't breathe.
Yeah, no.
I was like the dude in Last Breath, deprived of oxygen.
Oh, shit, yeah. Like, how'd you survive?
We didn't talk about that movie on here at all, did we?
No, we did not.
No. We have a pretty clean slate and nothing like etched in stone for what I care about talking about. I do want to talk about really quickly on the Mortal Kombat front before I move on from it. The one piece of controversy is the casting of Johnny Cage. You're familiar with who Johnny Cage is?
Yeah.
In Mortal Kombat, the flashy dude with the glasses.
Yeah.
Have you seen any Mortal Kombat movies?
No.
off-air content conversation we'll have. But like,
Okay.
I do think you like this is you need to get up to date on like film history. Obviously, everybody out there knows that. That's not news.
Everybody. Yeah.
The world knows.
The whole world.
The first two are not good, but they're like iconic in their own right. But yeah, Johnny Cage hasn't really been in a movie since the first and early into the second Mortal Kombat movies. So it's gonna be cool having him back, but generally in the games, which I'm not a big Mortal Kombat game person, but he's normally a younger character, like a younger person who's like the up and coming, like flashy Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
And in this one, instead, Carl Urban's in his 40s, 50s, so he's gonna be like the older, washed up actor who's invited into the Mortal Kombat tournament. So people are like frustrated or upset because they wanted it to be one version of the character, but are getting a different interpretation. Carl Urban's fantastic, so I'm going to definitely be open to whatever happens. And he's a guy who seems like looking at like how he treated Judge Dredd, for instance, which is kind of a niche character, but he seemed to have a lot of love for it and has always and he treated his characterization of it with respect. And he always wanted to do more of it. I figure he would probably feels the same way about something like this, that he wants to do it in a way that like the fans would be happy with it, you know? So, yeah, well, we're going to come back to Mortal Kombat at some point.
I guess I'm not too locked in on the Mortal Kombat lore, so
it's impossible.
Excuse my disinterest.
Dude, I'm on the movie side. I'm not on the game side, but there's two different worlds there.
Interesting. Like, okay.
You know, like
I thought you get to the movie side from being locked in from the game side.
No, I played the games. I think everybody's played a Mortal Kombat game in their life, whether it be in an arcade or in their home.
Get over here.
So like I've messed around with but I've never been. I couldn't tell you the story of Mortal Kombat. I think I've gone down the YouTube hole a few times of like watching like the explanations of them or things, but I've never beat them myself. I know the movies though, and I watch the animated movies too.
Okay. Oh wow, there's a lot more movies than I realized.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about Last Breath, right? Because I like just to get spoiler alert right off of the rip here. I hadn't put that on my ranking. Like I had it on my list, but I never ranked it. I didn't realize. So even when we talked last week, I gave my rankings, and it was just sitting at the bottom of my list, and I didn't even realize I hadn't.
You did the whole like add to list and never moved.
Yeah, moved it. Yeah. So I looked, and it's like honestly, I right now. It was my top movie of the year. I think it like, and again, like some of this is going to be conversation for later, but like it's been a tough year for movies, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that I think that's a standout for me so far. Like a really cool experience. Just the nature of, I was talking to somebody, what came to mind was that like because we never talked about it on here, I don't think I ever really like talked about how I felt about it. And somebody was asked me for a movie recommendation the other day, and I was telling them like I thought that movie was super intense, but what was so intense about it was the integration of what we believe to be real footage, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so for people who out there aren't familiar with which movie it is, it's with Simu
I'm sorry,
Liu?
Please don't ask me.
You can do it. Dante will say it for us the correct way. But Shang-Chi, you know?
Yes.
And Woody Harrelson, and I can't remember the other kid's name now, but he also gives a great performance. But it's about them. They work underwater on like the oil pipelines that are at the bottom of the ocean, basically.
Yeah.
And they have to go down there and do repairs. And there's an issue with the hydraulics in the boat that's supposed to be up above the water where they're stationed, and it causes them to get pulled offline, and one of them to get stuck at the bottom of the ocean with no oxygen. And what proceeds is just a crazy story. None of this was spoilers either, all given away in the trailer. And also
it's a real story, so you can't.
It's a true story too. Yeah. And that's I think the biggest highlight for me is like
that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm sure I'm taking it right away from you, but a lot of times you see movies and they're based on a true story. I love that this just started real bold with this is a true story.
Yeah. Like now,
it's just like basically like we're giving you exactly what happened, and there's really not going to be any variation.
And yeah, I think for the first 30 minutes or so, two things. I think it's a little slow, like to start and building to get there.
Yeah,
but that's not bad because, like, again,
I think that was important though. I don't think any of it was wasted.
Yeah, like it's still not a long movie by any means. So about 30 minutes of it is kind of meeting the build up to like what these guys, the mindset they're in, like meet the significant other and like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Which is all important to make you feel shit in the later part.
Because now you know what he has to get home to.
Exactly, you know? So from there, just the realization, I think, for both of us during that movie that like, oh, like some of this is like actual underwater footage and like the real stuff, and it's haunting. Like, I think that's the best way to put it is like, it's eerie, it's haunting, it's like the scariest shit you'll ever see because it's real, like it happened. You know? And I almost don't want to do the spoiler thing because of all the things I've seen this year, it's one that I actually genuinely, the story's so mind blowing to me
that if you don't know the story, like, all the more enjoyable for the ride.
It makes no logical sense, and they can't even explain how it makes logical sense. But it's like it's just it's one of those ones where like life just works in mysterious, like crazy, phenomenal ways, and like it's one of those modern phenomenons. And a movie I definitely enjoy. It's not perfect by any means. I think there's things that they didn't tell enough in this movie where we had come off of, just before doing this, we had watched Armageddon. And I had talked to Dante, I think, about this, but like seeing one of the things that's most impactful in Armageddon to me is Liv Tyler's character, and getting to see the daughter's reaction to her father and her future husband going through what they're going through. And like the goodbye scene is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes to me still to this day. And like, I think there's a whole element that you don't get with this movie of the significant other, that they established that like they're there, so you feel for the relationship, but like there's also almost an unexplored aspect of it, you know? You
can't have that. I know. Have that like Armageddon scene where they're having like that communication while he's out there.
Like I totally, you know, but I just think that there was just so much more that you want to know, or like they could have potentially told that. But to keep it true, like to not just like guess at things, I think it stayed in the world it had to, you know?
Yeah.
Because they probably even had straight up the recordings of the conversations that were happening from surface level to under too, that they could have referenced back to. I'd have to imagine, you know, all that stuff's probably recorded. But yeah, just like I thought a fantastic movie. I think I have it at 3.5 stars.
I probably had it somewhere around there too. I don't remember, but I remember coming out of that, and I think we talked about it recently too, like deciding what's the most important thing to us when we're ranking these movies. And honestly, especially based against everything else we watched this year, just didn't make me feel something. And like just the tension you feel throughout that entire movie, and like, you know, the highs and lows you feel as you're going through it. Like, I just think like that makes for a really great movie, despite, you know, whatever shortcomings they may have had here or there.
100%.
And I did actually have it at 3.5 stars, and it is my number one movie so far.
Speaking of like real footage stuff, this is kind of like an older taste test thing we'll do here, because like just talking about shit we've watched for a minute, if I could.
Yeah.
I watched the Gabby Patito mini series on Netflix this past week.
Help me.
So I'm not like a true crime person. I'm not like a doc person like that. Like I don't watch that stuff. And I think in ways I understand even more so why I don't after watching this. Are you looking up who that is?
Yep.
So backstory for people. She
still
was
have no idea who that
shortly.
is.
It was 2021. So what's that, like mid-COVID or just post-COVID?
That's like mid-COVID.
So her and her boyfriend at the time have been dating for a year or something. They get engaged and they buy a RV, or they buy a van and convert it into like one of the little RV vans,
van life,
you know?
Like, yeah.
So they start a van life YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
She decides she wants to stop her job and start a van life YouTube channel.
Okay.
So they go off on the road.
I was getting heavy in that rabbit hole for a little bit.
Yeah. So they go off on the road and they do this thing, right?
Okay.
And this story gets famous because he ends up coming home, or like they report her missing, and they find out that he's been home for a week with the van in Florida. And the parents have been trying to reach out to his parents, and they haven't been getting responses.
Say home, is home the van, or they have an actual house as well?
His parents' house in Florida.
Okay.
So he drives the van back to his parents' house in Florida. The whole week leading up to this point, the family's been trying to get in touch with the family, with the daughter, with him. Nobody's answering. Nobody's responding. Anything like that. They report the daughter missing. And the police go to the house to do a wellness check, find the van there, are like, hey, we're trying to find out, the parents are trying to find out what's going on with Gabriella. Hey, can you give us any answers? They're like, we're not able to speak to you about anything. We already have a lawyer. Reach out to them. And they've already lawyered up, from Jump Street. So then it leads to like, they still haven't found this girl. It's been 10 days. And the craziest part of all of this is, though, like I said, they were starting a YouTube channel. So the whole first episode of this three episode miniseries is real footage.
Yeah.
It's all of their YouTube footage on the road leading up to the day that she dies. So you're literally watching a real person. And it's like crazy because you're also getting like, this is the stuff they would have showed you, but this is the lead up to it. This is the multiple takes of doing it. This is, so you're seeing body language. If like he didn't really like her doing it. He didn't really believe in it. You can see his body language in the background during certain videos. And like, they do a good job of like replay and like narrowing, focusing on him and like just stuff like that. And it was just like one of those things. One of the first takeaways for me that was so like eye opening and mind blowing is Instagram. Right? Like that idea that we have on social media of influencers, of like that video comes out and we perceive it a certain way that this is a perfect and happy couple. Because that's what they're depicting to us through their social media like posts. And it's just seeing the other side of what this is, because within 2 weeks, like she's missing and assumed dead,
And so is the whole thing like they think he did it?
I mean, it's not, you can't spoil something that's our real life thing and happened, well documented, I suppose. So it doesn't matter. Basically the police start investigating it. Throughout the process, like there's more information coming up because like once they go public with it, there's a whole subculture of the van life people. Yeah. And they all drive around and film too, and they're all around each other. So then like people are like, like watching their YouTube, their content, like going back through all their backlogs video. Yeah. And they're finding out from people who gave him like a person who picked him up and drove him back to a campsite. Like one day saw his picture and knew who he was and reported something. Another girl said that they gave him a ride somewhere and reported it. And then this chick who is a popular van life person, once they changed the timeline because they had found out more information for when he would have been in a certain area, she realized in her videotape that she had driven by him. Well, she had driven by that van just parked on the side of like a bog somewhere. And they were able to narrow down exactly where her body had been. And her body just laid out, staged in like the open wilderness for like 20 days, with like her resting on her side with her shoes in front of her, with like, it looked like somebody tried to make a fire. Like he staged like her body there to like look like she died naturally or whatever it was, but it was proven that she was strangled and all this stuff. But in the meantime of them trying to like find her, he leaves like somehow he gets like, there's people outside of his house, all this shit, somehow gets out of his home. He dresses similar to his mom and like gets into the car and drives away and drives himself to the like a reservation in Florida that he likes to hike in. Yeah. And they can't find him for like a week. And finally the family gets worried because he stops responding to them. And they now are asking the cops to like help them find him, And I guess the Everglades were flooded at the time. So once the flooding receded, they were able to go out there and help the police look and found immediately
where he was,
his body. He killed himself. Oh, shit. And in his notes, like he's full of shit. Like even in his notes, like he apologized. Like he said that it was an accident for her dying, and like that he thought it was merciful in the way that like it ended because she was in pain, and like tried to spin it when there were like none of what he described in his letter. And he didn't know that they found the body at this point when he killed himself. Yeah. So none of what he described in his letter, it adds up to what the autopsy shows for the murder. The one other crazy thing, to not like go too long on this, they found a note from his mother. Because remember, they were already lured up when they come back, establish her missing. So they look at the phone records and find that like the day that he kills her, the day that they know they've narrowed down that he killed her, he calls his parents and talks to them on the phone for like 50 minutes, and then they call the lawyers right afterwards. So it's assumed that he calls and tells them what happens. Yeah. And the mother writes a note that says "burn after reading." and it talks about how I would do anything for you. If you killed somebody, I would help you with the shovel.
Yeah.
To bury the body.
Holy
if
shit.
you went to jail, I'd get the file in for you to get out. Like, you know, like just basically being like, I'd rather die, whatever for you.
Yeah.
But he never burned the letter. So on top of everything else, like that's just more incriminating shit, you know?
Jesus Christ.
It's a crazy story, but the thing that fucked me up with it, and the reason I realized I don't really watch this stuff, is because it was too real to me.
It's too chilling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's so. There's even more that I haven't said. Like, they get stopped by the police because somebody reports that they see a guy hitting a girl, like punching her, and the police stop them on the road, and they basically treat her as the criminal. They treat her as the aggressor and treat him as the person who's being abused, to the point where they put him up in a free hotel for the night, which is for an abuse victim, and they let her stay in the RV by herself for the night. Like, they separate them, and like, he's such a scumbag that he took it. Yeah, like, it's such a crazy thing. But yeah, it just all felt like you feel so terrible because you're like, this is a really nice person, and I'm seeing too real of a look into their life, and then I'm seeing how sad it is on the other side that like this fucking terrible person just took advantage of that. And like, I don't know how like there's these, especially women, like are in like super into that genre, and it's so sad to me. I don't understand it. It's too brutal. I can do it in movies because it's like disassociated. It's not real. Video games, it's not real.
Like, the mystery of it all is interesting, but like, I get what you're saying. Like, it's
the
way
cruelty
too real.
of people. Like, dude, I was in a parking lot today, and I watched a woman just let a lady like cross her path in the parking lot, like, and then she rolled down the window and was like, have a great day, like, have a blessed day. And the woman was like, oh my God, you too, thank you so much. And it was just like,
in Massachusetts,
it was the nicest. Dante, this is my point. It was like the sweetest shit I've ever seen, and I literally smiled. Like, I was like, wow, people like are still super nice. But the flip side is, I watch something like this, and the other side of it is like, people can be really, really terrible too, you know, and this is really sad to watch, and the injustice of it, that like there were signs and things that could have happened. There's more sad shit. Like, this is like, I would 100%, if this is a genre you're into, or just like a whatever, like 100% like watch it, because there's more crazy shit that I haven't even said that like happens within this story.
I can definitely like see myself, and I've done it before, right? It's like put on like an episode of it. Like, I assume it's like a 4-part series or something. It's 3
episodes, and I watched one and I couldn't, like, I didn't want to watch
exactly. Same thing happens to me. Like, I've seen a few of these like different like serial killer documentaries or whatever. It's like either like you put it on by accident, or you just kind of like clicked it, like, whatever, like just throw something on as background, and you get sucked in, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? By the end of it, you're like, why did I watch this? Yeah,
I just couldn't, like, I kept being like, I don't want to, but I need to like see this through. I like, because I didn't remember if he gets caught.
You need
like,
to know what happens.
Like, you just keep going with it. Yeah, and then it's over, and you're like, I was sad for like an hour. I was just like, and not like weeping or anything, but I just felt like down. Like, you feel like a sunken version of yourself almost, you know?
Yeah.
I know I should speed this along. However, I'm in a groove of just wanting to talk shit right now. So I'm going to keep talking shit for a second. Did you know Fyre Fest Part 2 is happening?
How are they going to have a part 2 to something that technically didn't have a part 1?
That's a very good question, Dante. Maybe better to put it this way: Fyre Fest V2, headed up by the same guy.
So what is like the promo title? Like, Fyre Fest V2. It's actually happening this time.
Quite literally, that's like, they asked him in an interview. I watched like a 30-minute YouTube video on this.
Yeah.
And they asked him in an interview kind of that question, like, how are you supposed to? His answer was literally like, well, the thing about Fyre Fest people and people who would go to something like this is they're adventure seekers, and the unknown is part of what they're looking for. And yeah, the possibility that this could go completely off the rails is definitely in play. And I think that's why you sign up for something like this. And it's like, this guy
is this man really banking to get away with it twice?
So he didn't get away with it the first time.
True.
He went to jail.
Yeah.
He's out on probation. He might not even be able to go to Fyre Fest. He might have to watch it on a live stream because he can't leave the country. But he owes $26 million from the lawsuits from the first Fyre Fest that he's already made. I guess they said 30 payments to. But he was like, nobody wants to hire a guy that's going to pay him enough to pay off $26 million in debt.
So now he's got to try.
So the only way that I can pay this money off is to try again. Yeah. And try to right the wrongs that I did the last time. However, he's doing it on an island in Mexico that is not, he's saying he's booked the villas, already has contracts, is already all this stuff. There's going to be the experiences that he announced at the last ones with athletes, with social media people, with music people. However, when people do any research, they've contacted the hotels that are on the island, the resorts that are on the island. They've said nobody has reached out to them yet. There's $1 million ticket, Dante, to this event, which you get a yacht for the week.
$1 million to go to this event.
Yes, which you get a yacht for it. So tickets are already on sale.
Who the fuck's buying these tickets?
But so Dante, tickets are already on sale. He's saying that they're in conversations with artists, but he can't give any names on the artist. And when they try to push him on it, he says he's not handling the booking of the artist. It's a different company. And then I forget, like, there is a legitimate company he's partnering with, but the companies, like, if you do a little research on them, they're kind of bullshit as well. But yeah, basically he's doing the same thing he did the last time, where he's hoping to put the tickets on sale to know how many people are going to be there to then set up accommodations, as opposed to setting up accommodations.
He's trying to reduce his overhead.
Yes. And it's like, this is why this stuff blew up the last time, because they have announced an event with all these grand expectations, but never actually did the logistical planning.
And then you're going to find out that you can't book half the shit.
Yes. So the whole thing
is going to fall apart
100% has to be falling apart, but it's something to keep an eye on out there, people. Fyre Fest 2 is in the process of happening. It's announced for the end of May.
Very soon.
So it's soon.
Oh, we're going to know.
He could, like, how long do you put somebody in jail again for? And should we not go to jail for it? Like, the people who bought the tickets should go to jail, I think.
Why?
I think anybody who's responsible for allowing businesses to take place, like, if you allowed this thing to allow him to take money, like, whoever allows the commerce to happen here, right?
No, now you're victim blaming.
I'm blaming the system, because somebody else is trying to profit off of him.
Yeah.
You know? Like somebody else is allowing him to go and do this event when it's 100% he's not following any of the processes to do it correctly. Like, if he was going to do this again, there should be processes in place because of what he did the first place. Honestly, part of what happened the first time should be that he's not allowed to do this again.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that crazy?
I feel like anybody who's buying tickets to this shit,
they're idiots. It's the same thing with the meme coin people. It's all of that stuff. I understand. Like, I'm joking when I say you should get like jail time for buying into it, but I 100%
fool
think
me once.
The people who are buying it are dumb. The people who are selling it should be held responsible. Okay. And he is being allowed to sell by a grander power because he was put in front of legality for doing this the first time. He shouldn't be allowed to do it again. It's like if you Mike Vick shouldn't be allowed to own dogs.
No.
You know, like, if you do shit like this, if you literally steal money from people, hurt people, cause people to not like lose whatever from the first Fyre Fest, to allow him to hypothetically do it again on some redemption bullshit is crazy. He should have to do anything else to make money.
I understand his logic behind it. My blame would be to everybody else around him enabling it.
Yeah, and when does a get rich scheme be the thing that's gonna, like, get him out of this hole? What happens when he's $2 million further in the hole? Either way, like, it's mind blowing shit.
That's like, he's got to get arrested again for fraud, right?
We'll see. 2 months. Put a countdown out. Put a countdown out for it. Good as time as any. Dante, do you have it?
Do you have it?
I've been told I've had it, but I feel like I lost it, and then I found it, and then I had it again, but then it got away from me, and then I'm back to having it.
Are we talking about taste?
Yeah, we are talking about taste. Taste. And if you have it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video, and make sure to tell a friend, ask a friend, and spread it around. Spread the good word.
Ooh,
spread winter cheer.
Yeah, spread it
in the spring.
Yeah. Okay. Good job.
I'm sorry.
You really got the Christmas spirit.
My mouth's numb from the Novocaine. What, did you bite your tongue off?
Okay.
I'm El Fuego right now.
Yeah.
El Fuego right now, dude. So I really like this movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
So I'll join you in saying that I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I expected to. I remember seeing the trailer and being like, this is going to be the fucking dumbest thing ever.
I think it reminded me of Crank. Like the whole time I thought it was going to be similar to the vibes of Crank. Whereas like Crank's maybe more of a skilled fighter, but like that like level of insanity and craziness to the point where we're getting moments that were very much out of Crank in this movie.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that was kind of the vibe I always thought that this movie was going to have. I think it had more layers in some ways than I expected it to have.
I didn't think it was a movie that was going to get me to care about the characters.
Yeah, I think that that's the biggest standout. This movie isn't as good if it's a combination of things. It's the lead was written well.
Yeah.
Like I think credit has to go to the writers because they wrote a strong lead character. But then in addition, this is the first time for me, I think, not looking at his IMDb, that Jack Quaid has like stood out to me in a movie where I was like, he was supremely likable. In a movie that he could have.
That's fair because I've definitely seen him in a bunch of other movies, but nothing's even coming to mind.
No, like Scream's the only other movie that jumps to my head that he's a major part of, and he's not a great part of that movie to me necessarily, you know? So yeah, I think this is largely built upon the fact that they had a great lead, and he eats up a ton of screen time in this movie. And I think the whole time that he's on there, I'm happy with his presentation.
Yeah.
Because I think that you empathize with the character because of his condition, some of the background that they give him, and then also like the relationship that they have him build. You know, I think that those things all work really well in his favor. And then also the action, I think they built all the action sequences in a way that work pretty well.
They work pretty well. They just gave them all to you in the trailer.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And that's
the anticipation of shit. I know what's about to happen because I've seen this before, so then
we ourselves at this point, Dante, need to make a decision on the trailers that we watch. We didn't even talk about one of our topics actually, because we watched the Happy Gilmore trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think at some point is that on us to make the decision to not watch them anymore.
It's tough, right? Because like a trailer definitely helps me gauge my level of excitement for a movie, but at the same time, I think I want to limit myself to just teaser trailers at this point. Yeah,
like because I agree. I guess it didn't take me out of it so much with this. Like the best fight sequence in the movie, unfortunately, is heavily in the trailer. But I think it's actually the best like choreographed action sequence, the kitchen one.
Oh yeah.
I think is the most well choreographed in the sense that you feel his ineptitude in the fight, but you see how he's able to use his unique skills. And I like the superhero line being set up early in the movie to put that into your head, and that's in the trailer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but
it is.
But like I like that is in there to set that in your head that this can be he's treated this his whole life like a lot of people. Like you think about the whole X-Men arc, right? Like a lot of that is those people, like those mutants, feeling like it's a bad thing, not a good thing, right? He's treated it this way his whole life, and finally it's been weaponized for him. And I thought that fight did a really good job of balancing that. And I think it gets a little too much. I did find myself, I'll say this, I think in my old age, I'm getting a little more squeamish with movies.
I found myself wincing a lot more at this than I have at, I feel like, more gruesome horror movies. Like we watched Terrifier 3 and I don't think I winced.
No, not at all. Like, because that's like comedy in a way. Like where this like felt very gritty.
I think the sound design was what added a lot to it.
And like this one got more gratuitous late in the movie. And in a way it makes sense because like in a movie where a guy can't feel pain, you have to keep escalating the level of pain,
the perceived pain,
that they're going through. What did you think about the idea of him like feeling something?
What do you mean by that?
Like the girl, the scene with the girl where it's like he's avoided pain forever, but the opposite of that is still a feeling. And how do you like? I like that they at least investigated that even for a moment. And then honestly, that moment influences the whole movie.
But even that, I feel like he was just lying. I don't think he could feel anything.
I don't think he could feel it physically.
Yeah.
But what he was talking about is like
emotionally.
He got an emotional he can feel something changing in him. He knows this is like different than anything
He got
else.
emotionally hard.
Yeah, that's where he said, like, that's the, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had an emotional boner for the first time in his life, 6 to midnight. Yeah, in that moment. But I think that was more in the way that impacts the whole story, because like that's the reason he's a dog with a little red boner sticking out. I've
never heard that whole 6 to midnight thing. I had to do the math in my head.
Yeah.
It'd be more 6 to like 9 p.m. But anyways.
That's the sound a rising penis makes in my head.
Okay. You might want to get that checked out, dude.
It's like the sound of a jack going up, but like an automated one.
Bro, like, consult your doctor if that's what it sounds like, all right? Jesus
Put
Christ.
some oil on that thing.
WD-40 down there, yeah.
Yeah, I like that moment, while it's small, like the little bit of relationship building that we do get.
I think they kept it small, but it was also just enough to make you care.
Yeah.
Because that was literally the driving force of the whole movie.
Can we have a truth moment? Like a trust tree moment?
Uh-oh.
Because I generally think I'm pretty on top of knowing where movies are going to go.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't catch the 3, 2, 1 spoiler. This is a watch. Watch this, but get out of here if you don't want to be spoiled. Yeah, I guess the thing that I had missed is I'd gotten off the scent of her turning on, like being a bad guy, so to speak.
Yeah, I guess the second it happened, I was like, I really should have seen that coming.
Yeah, that was super predictable. I'm a dummy, was what I felt. Yeah.
I think I was locked in on the shock of enjoying the movie so much that I wasn't even worrying about trying to predict it.
Yeah. Like I just, for a moment, right before that, I was writing a couple notes to myself. Like one of the notes to myself was like, why'd they need to take two cars? And I still don't understand why they needed to take 2 cars necessarily, aside from it just being for storyline purposes to give him a way to kill the first guy without being with the 2 people.
I didn't even think about that.
Aside from that, I couldn't figure out why they took 2 cars. So I was writing that note down when all of a sudden she was like, I know them, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, I guess I get why she would be cool in the car, whatever. Like, but yeah, the 2 cars thing was weird. I had another question from this movie, if I may. Do you know how to launder money?
No.
Like, I understand what laundering money is.
Yeah. But
he tells the old guy,
you might want to launder that.
And I was like, I don't know if I know how I would.
I'd have to open a laundromat. I need like a cash only business is what I mean.
Yeah, like basically, like that's what I mean, right? Like I think I have an idea how I could do it.
Okay.
But I can't say it on here. In the event that
you need to do it.
Yeah.
I got you.
I don't want, this shouldn't be out there.
All right, so let's just be clear.
I don't know how to launder money.
Okay.
I don't know how to launder money.
Yeah. And you never will.
I actually started this by saying, like, how do you launder money? I don't know how to do it. So,
yeah. Like, his bright idea is putting in the washing machine. So
that's all I could think. I was like, that's literally all I could think. I've seen them do that in movies before. So, I've seen them dry it too.
I think they do that with like counterfeit to give it more of like the texture,
the worn feel.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Another thing I had written down in here from notes. The tattoo guy.
Yeah.
So that guy was a douchebag. Right?
Yeah.
Like bad guy.
Yeah.
Don't have an issue with him dying. However, our main character
Did he actually die?
No, I guess he didn't die, but he got the shit kicked out of him, right? Pretty badly. Yeah. And like our main character like gouges his eyes out with glass to the eyes, right?
Glass shards, yeah.
Bad guy, again, had it coming. Don't mind it. However, the fight scene before that, he like felt terrible about killing somebody. And this guy had nothing to do with stealing the girl that he perceived as his like love that he's chasing after. He's just a person he's looking for information from, that he's willing to.
Swastika.
No, again, bad guy.
Yeah.
Should get his eyes gouged out.
Yeah.
I'm with it. Logically, though, he seemed a little too okay taking a man's eyeballs out.
Well, you know,
That's a vicious way. That's not just like
they say the first one's the hardest.
yeah.
I assume it gets exponentially easier.
Yeah, exponentially, yes.
I just didn't realize how many exponents, but yeah.
Okay, and then my last takeaway, and this is a negative on this movie. This is one thing I actually didn't like. There's like aspects of it that I like, but totality I hate. The cops. I didn't like the cops.
The cops did not have a great feel, no.
I liked the
tug in the heartstrings with the daughter.
that was cool, and I liked how it tied in.
Yeah,
it made sense. Like that part of it made total sense, and it gave you like a point to point to the movie to be like, oh, like there was an impactful scene there. Yeah, good. The thing I hate the most, and this is like a movie issue, when they come in and bust the situation and shoot the bad guy.
Yeah,
but they're not. They're like they're gone. They never checked the bad guy.
They didn't clear the gun. They didn't check to see if it was,
They just were doing everything else in the room. They were literally leaving the crime scene.
I've seen so many different cop movies and TV shows where once you down the bad guy, you kick away the gun.
Yeah.
We didn't do any of that.
Dude, they were already like acting like it was over. They were walking. She was literally like walking the girl out of the crime scene, making jokes and shit. Yeah. And then gets shot in the stomach. And I was like,
first the other guy gets shot in the neck.
Yeah. This whole thing is actually some of the worst cop work in a movie.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I've literally ever seen. It might be some of the worst cop work. It was impressively bad, but it took me out of it when he pops up with the gun from his back, and I'm like, yeah, like you guys never even went over and checked if he was alive. You only shot him in the stomach. It wasn't like they gave him a life-ending shot. Like they shot him in his side.
But I think the funnier thing about that, right, is like he got shot in the same place that the lady cop got shot.
Yeah.
She had to get driven away to the hospital. He has a whole fight sequence.
Well, she didn't go right to the hospital either. Remember, she has to drive all the way to the wherever they crashed. Was it a shipping yard?
Yeah, it looked like a shipping container yard or whatever.
I get what you're saying, though. That's where the fight
from that point,
place.
she gets taken to the hospital. He goes into a fight.
Yeah.
They have the same injury.
He also got like brain shocked, and it didn't really do anything to him. Will brain shocks not do anything to people?
Isn't that how you? Oh, never.
Lobotomy?
No,
right?
That's with a drill, right?
They just drill a hole in your head?
I don't know. I mean, also, like, granted, you can't feel pain, but you fucking hit yourself with a defibrillator and your heart's beating, like, that should stop it.
I did like that even though he couldn't feel pain, he got knocked out, like, several times. I liked that, like, he wasn't concussion-proof. It was just that he can't feel it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't feel it, but the effects are still very real.
I liked that
part
of it. That the fact that he couldn't fight anytime that he got punched in the face, he just got knocked out cold, basically. Yeah. Like, I liked that.
Man, literally became an adrenaline junkie, too.
Yeah,
that was the crank aspect.
That's an easy bailout too. That I like, fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like it's a fun movie.
This is definitely one of those you got to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, what could have been a very easily played out film too. Again, I think goes back to the thing that differentiates this from a movie that could have just been kind of ho hum in a way, passable, serviceable movie, and takes it to me being the next step up. Is the performance from Jack Quaid and the way that him as well as the female lead are written. We haven't really talked about the guy from Spider-Man. Kind of a throwaway part to the movie for me. Like I can't tell if I think that guy's going to be around in movies for a long time or if he's not good. I can't tell.
I don't want to say he's not good. I just
not
don't
good.
Think,
not the right
I don't think he's versatile. I think he's going to be the same person in literally every role he plays.
His entryway into Hollywood to me felt very Jonah Hill entryway, and it could just
like
be
it was a joke.
It could be like their build too, but like no, like more so like the best friend role, and they did it really well, like the sidekick to the main character. So like for me, Jonah Hill, Superbad, accepted. He plays like this fantastic little side part character to the leads in both of those movies, and people liked him a lot, and it got him opportunities in more films because of it, right? And like soon he started doing leading stuff in comedies instead of being the side character. Like this guy, he's good. Like I like him, but yeah, is he kind of a one-trick pony with the character? Like his characters all kind of feel similar. Yeah, and then like he's trying to do the glow up thing a little bit, but I don't like Jonah Hill's glow up. Although Jonah Hill looked funny skinny too, so I don't know. But the aesthetics matter when it comes to being like perceived as a
comedian. Yeah,
no, not comedian, just like a leading, like not even a leading, but like a notable Hollywood star. Having a certain look impacts that, you know. Yeah. Whereas him, I think he'll end up in more of these character roles because of his aesthetic being more unique in that way. You know, like he doesn't give off leading man vibe so much, but he can play like a good,
like funny sidekick.
Yeah. And you even look at what his shtick in this movie was like literally Jason Momoa, but he says he's Jason Momoa and doesn't see him. You know, like his shtick in this movie, a lot of it is around his look. Yeah, you know, which not good. Like I almost think like if you're his agent, you tell him like, hey man, unless you want to have like the security of always being this guy in Hollywood, because there's a security to that, right? Like you'll always kind of have a role and stuff, but there's a ceiling. Always, though, yeah. There's a ceiling to what that can be too. And you're going to basically put a ceiling because you're telling the audience that like, look at my looks. Like
like this is all over.
I don't look like Jason Momoa. I don't look like a leading man. Like I am like the other guy, you know? Yeah. And it's okay to tell us what we already know, but like you're just emphasizing it. So we'll never accept you as something else. I think a lot of this podcast this week is just like what I think people's interpretations can be on like perceptions in Hollywood. I don't know.
What I like about you.
The one other thing I wanted to talk about with this, was more what we had referenced earlier, where I think that this has moved into my favorite movie of the year. I think that this is this and Last Breath, I think, are both equally good to me.
Where did I put this again?
So I like this is more a commentary, I think, on right now where the movies are at for the year, where there's just not been a lot of standout stuff. It's kind of how last week we talked about like the fact that Hard Eyes is ranked so highly on the list. It's more an indictment on the movie quality this year that these things are hanging around so high. I feel like more so. Granted, maybe we were saying this about Beekeeper most of the first half of last year too. I don't know, but
yeah, because I think similar to last year where we had Beekeeper and Origin, now this year we have Novocaine and Last Breath.
Yeah, and like we'll get towards the May, June, July's blockbuster season. And stuff will start rolling out that jumps up this list higher. But yeah, it just feels a little lackluster, a little underwhelming, I guess would be the way to put it. At least in my opinion. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mean, I think the last year started out very similarly, and we didn't really ramp up our amount of movies we were watching until like, I want to say like mid-May.
Yeah, my list grew exponentially in the spring and summer. But yeah, and like I enjoyed like my top 4 movies: Novocaine, Last Breath, Hard Eyes, and One of Them Days. You
still haven't watched Companion, huh?
No, and it won't go on my list because I'm not going to see it in the theater. You know, but yeah, like I liked or enjoyed all of those movies, so no problem. Jack Quaid, Companion.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like it's one of those things where it's been a slow start to the year. We got good stuff coming. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I haven't disliked those top 4 movies, but none of them have lit the world on fire for me. Like they're all just kind of on a scale right now for me where this has been my favorite thing I've seen this year, but it's not doesn't
as far as what I have to compare it to.
Yeah, it's not a 5-star movie by any means, but it's as good as anything that's come out this year so far. And I'm looking forward to now adding Jack Quaid onto one of those guys where Companion is something I'll watch to check it out because I've heard great things.
And he's actually really good.
I've heard he's really good in it too. Yeah. So that's funny. You didn't remember it until now, but yeah. That gives me reason to check that movie out. And I'm an actor guy, so I'll probably pay more attention to him now.
Fair enough.
You know, that wraps it up. I've taken us in enough directions.
Yeah, we've
unless you really want to do Happy Gilmore
side
too.
Tangents.
No. Pass.
Let's just say it ain't what it was. You shouldn't have tried.
I'm on the opposite side. I liked that preview trailer.
Really?
I didn't think it tried too hard, and I appreciated that. I thought it was subtle.
I definitely feel that it was subtle, but I'm also afraid that the movie is going to be subtle. Whereas the first Happy Gilmore was not subtle.
I'm feeling like he kind of. I'm hoping that this is one where it knows what it is a little bit, and it feels like it's teetering the nostalgia in that trailer more. But we'll have some outrageous.
This is similar to what we recently just talked about with trailers, where it's like, is it giving you too much or is it not giving you enough?
I just think that I think that touched on all the nostalgia, let you know the characters that are showing up and some stuff. But there's other characters we haven't seen yet. We got no plot really in that aside from the fact that like he's trying to dust it off after how many years, you know. So there's still more we need to know, and maybe we stay away from the trailer just to go in clean slate now that we've seen just that little bit. We're not that far off from it. It's going to be on Netflix, so easy enough, you know. But I'm looking forward to it. If you're looking forward to it, you know.
No,
I think you said something.
I said bet.
No.
What'd you think I said?
Who knows?
No. I mean, I think you think.
No, I didn't think you said it. Now it's going too long.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Now this is what went from awkward has gone even more awkward, but now we're maybe turning a corner on it and it's not awkward anymore. Make sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video. Answer all the questions I've asked you throughout as well, please. And until next week, Dante, we bid you fale adieu.
Peace.
Bang. Bang.
A skeet.
Bang, bang.
Oh. Skeet.
For those with good taste.
Motherfucker.